Of course. Well, goddamn bullshit. Alright. This entire time my microphone was disconnected. Oh boy. Alright, so, for those watching later or watching now, we're back for some 3D modeling. Gonna use streams to motivate myself to model more often. It is something I kind of judge myself on doing often enough since I went to school for this shit. And yeah, try to work on those 3D modeling skills. If you guys got some questions and all, feel free to ask them. Comments, whatever. If you're just here to hang out, you're welcome to. Yeah, I'm just gonna make some 3D. Gonna take this very simply and, just enjoy making 3D for about an hour. And I'll stop the stream and try that another time, maybe next Sunday if I can, or another time during the week. I know the Blender community that found my videos before might not see this yet, but if you ever end up seeing it, it might answer some of your questions you might have never asked. So, if you wonder about how to model when I'm modeling, well, it's going to be quite easy. Alright, so in hopes you're all seeing my screen right now, in hopes, give me a second, I'll check just to be sure. Boom. This here. Let's go check my live. Second. I'll check just to be sure. Alright, sweet. So, now I'm gonna close this tab. We don't need it. So where we left off, I didn't model the holes for the cannon and the sliders direction. I didn't model that on stream. I did it off stream because I went ahead and tried to find how to activate the add-ons again for the looped tool. And it changed since 3.5. I haven't used Blender in a bit, so I had to do some research and all. And if you don't know yet, like I didn't, if you want to activate add-ons to make your life easier in Blender, which is a great freaking thing. I don't know if it exists for other 3D apps, but that is one thing I always adore about Blender. It's just that you can actually activate different add-ons to make it easier to work with, simplify or accelerate your life basically. So we can go ahead, go into the Edit tab, Preference. Then don't do the mistake I did, like going into add-ons and looking for it. Like you're looking for something called the Loop tool. Don't go to the add-ons tab yet, because if you write it down, for example, you're going to see it shows it for me, but if it doesn't show it for you, it means you have to get the extensions, which is a fancy way of saying you got to download it. So in the same tab, you go into the Get Extensions right above it. Then you're going to write down what you're looking for. Whatever tool it is you're looking for, you can browse through it. They all have description. You can even put on some tags about what you're looking for. Everything. Animation, rendering, modeling, rigging, texturing, UV painting, name it. There's so much add-ons that the community has made, and the creators of Blender made as well throughout the years across this entire thing. It's amazing. It accelerates a lot of the work. Like you can see, it's all the filters you can put on if you're really fancy about it, even for node-based modeling, which is something I will not touch because it is fairly complicated. I am not that good at it. It's very complicated. And during the stream, you might see me look down towards my desk. That's because my second screen is my drawing tablet that I use to see the chat and the stream's quality. So you might see me look down like this, or just, look away from my main screen right here. It's just because I'm looking at this. And yeah, it's still in my field of view, so I can answer some questions pretty fairly without, wondering. And for those that wonder if I do this as a living, I don't. I want to. This is why I'm doing these streams, so I can model more often, get those skills worked down, and get some good models out, and perhaps even land a job in 3D. Because I have the basic knowledge for 3D modeling. I'm just not a certified artist at all. And, you know, it's a qualification they might look for, but it's not necessary if you do models people find interesting or good. So it's just I'm basically an amateur, not a professional. Well, that's why I'm here. So off stream, like I mentioned before, I modeled basically a little guidance hole of the slider. So basically, what I went for was add some subdivisions to the slider itself. Then I used a loop tube to shape the the circular hole for the cannon, and then did a reinforcement edge to make sure that if I decide to harden this area, I still have some geometry that keeps it hardened and I don't have to add anything. And it's not going to create any artifacts. Did the same over here. A bit lower geometry, since it is a smaller area. I don't have to worry that much. And I'm really trying to keep this simplified as much as I can. So we don't, give ourselves headaches with what we're looking for. Oh yeah, next step. Let's see what we can do now. Excuse me. We could go for the iron sight shape, which is basically stuck to the solder itself. What we can go for... Yeah, we can go for that. Alright, so now we're gonna go to new side view, activate X-ray. You might notice the image is not well set. It's because the reference is not proportionate in each pictures. So I'm trying to use as much of my judgment as I can. But, it fits kind of pretty close. It just, not so perfect because the reference is not the best. What we're going to go for... It adds some geometry around here. Yeah. Then... let's check the ones in the back. Alright, so we're gonna have a cut right here. So remember, for cutting, it's Control and R. Then all you have to do is move your cursor or your mouse to make it move along the edge. And now we could have should we? No. If I had a loop cut over here, it's gonna solidify this edges right here, which is gonna disturb the flow we have. Like for example, if I put on a subdivision modifier, which is, god damn, I hate all the interface change. Come on. Of course I can't click this. There we go. Alright, so the range we're gonna go for, it should be generate. There should be something called subdivision. Subdivision surface, there we go. Now we added some geometry, like with this tool. And if I shade smooth, now we can look. If I add an edge right here, he's gonna solidify it, which could be great, but I don't want to go with too much geometry right now. I want to avoid using subdivision for now, because a lot of people use it as an ultimate reference, I'm going to call it, for modeling. and base their model off that subdivision. But I want to place our geometry well enough that if we use it, it is a bonus and not the main factor for our model right now. So I'm going to shade that flat again. And then, now we're going to look at this here. So with the wireframe mode, all right, so it follows the gun's curvature, which means I'm going to have to extrude from these spots right here. It has kind of a bridge in the middle. Then we see the front aim guidance of the Iron sight. So what we're going to go for is actually just extrude this entire panel right here and just make it match in height wise. So all we're gonna do is really just go for that. And to avoid some random shit, I'm gonna go for, gonna get this out. Gonna select the faces. We're going to insert them. So I don't need to grab and make another loop tool around here since I don't need that much geometry for now. Then we might have to scale it on the y-axis a bit. Okay, maybe again. There we go. We might rework this, but yeah, we're probably gonna have to rework this. So maybe I'll try to solidify that edge on a later point. What I'm gonna do here is bring it back as much as I can. And then extrude that part. Let's extrude the way up. That looks about right. And scale this on the y-axis, try to get the right angle. Okay, that looks good. And then we're gonna go to side view, get that angle again. All right. So you might see it's not properly aligned yet. It's like a bit off. What we're gonna do is grab this edge loop. If I remember well, right click. There should be, I mentioned it before. There should be, all right, edge slide, there we go. I used to have a shortcut for that in the other version, but I forgot to set a new one. So we're just gonna edge slide this a bit away. Okay, I gotta grab the entire goddamn thing. So with control, left click, we're gonna slide this off. Then, right click, edge slide. Edge slide this around this part right here. Get a bit of distance. Then, what we can do is grab all of those faces. So, Alt and left click for an entire edge loop, no matter what it is. Vertices, faces, edges, it works for all of them. It's going to take the shortest path though. So, keep that in mind if it goes weirdly. Now we're going to align those two corners. Then we're going to scale this back on the X, make it fit. Then on the y-axis looks good. All right, sweet. So that's what it's looking like so far. I'm not making the crease in there yet. I'm just really trying to just work on the shape on the top of it. And then what we can do is, gonna sound a bit complicated, but gonna make us practice matching geometry a bit. Make a loop cut since it looks like it cuts directly in the middle. I'm gonna make a loop cut here, and then all I gotta do is take all of those three faces delete them. Then all I gotta do is bridge them again along those loops. All right, now let's bridge this, and voila. All right, let's see now. All right, so the shape looks good. Looks decent. Looks accurate. So I didn't add too much geometry. I didn't add useless geometry, I'm gonna say. We got geometry in the back for other shapes that got left out because of the circles I made in the front for the cannon. But so far, this looks good. And now we're gonna do the front one. We're gonna go ahead. It's gonna be basically the same steps. Turn on X-ray mode again. Then we're gonna go ahead and do like we did in the last one. Grab this edge loop. Slide this away. Edge slide. You know, give it some room to breathe a bit. But for this one, we're not gonna need a whole lot. It's not that wide of a cursor. So my gut is telling me that it is the same size as this gap here, basically. So what we're gonna go for is just gonna check from the front. Let's hide this. Okay, yeah, the reference is not that good, kind of messing with me because we see both of them, but we can see just the separation between both of them. All right. Or maybe I was wrong with that metal piece. I'll go grab some more references. Just give me a second. So GLOCK 19. I'm gonna go for an image. I will try to find one with an angled view. Let's see. Okay, that's it. I found an image. What I'm gonna do now is, instead of bringing it into the scene, what I can do, which can be useful if you don't want to overcrowd your scene with stuff and always have an image next to you, if you don't have two screens to work from, is open a texture tab. So what you can do is right click on a random tab area or a place there's nothing, do a horizontal split. You're gonna have two tabs. Left click on this tab symbol here. Now we're gonna look for the texture editor. Nope. Let's see. UV editor. Nope. I'll get to it. All right, image editor. We're gonna get into here. Then we're gonna open the image we're looking for. So you will not see what I'm going for, so we'll tell it to you. I will say what I'm doing. So now I'm into my Blender view files, and I will travel to where I have saved the picture. Shouldn't be far. So you look for the file, you saved it in. If I can find it. Okay, let me just check where it saved it just to be sure. Alright, so if you ever look for it, what you can go ahead for is when you download something, you can check in which file it was saved on your browser. You can click on the path, which is the line above, where it says like user, file, image, this file. You can just click on that and you can do copy link, and you can just copy and paste it with Control V for pasting. Alright, found it. I hate OneDrive when it does that. God damn. Alright, so I'm going to open the image. There we go. So now, just going to disable this a bit more. Now here we can see in a better detail what it looks like. Okay, so this here is incorporated in this model. It is cut through. We can look at the picture I have here. We will know. Give me a second. Okay, so it looks like it is its own shape. Yeah, it is its own shape in here. We could make it like that, or use texturing to make it look so, because making this kind of cut is a bummer. So I'm just going to keep it integrated for now. It might not be accurate, but I think it is the right decision to take for now, in my opinion. Then let's look at the front sight. Okay, so as expected, it is only the middle part. Looks like it is a different part as well, so we can make a separate part for it. But what I'll do is to at least keep that shape. I'm gonna make it from this same model. So now I can bring that down and just keep this image over here. You know, just have this little reference right there for the shape of it. Alright, so now it is not big either. It's really just in metal itself. So I'll go for just grab the two metal faces. It should be these two here. Alright, yeah, it's these two guys. Again, I'm gonna insert with I, just to have some solidifying geometry. And using the X-ray, extrude this on the Z-axis by pressing Z. And like looks, it is around the same height. Okay, maybe not. Okay. So let's turn on the magnet tool. Then we're gonna magnet this to edge, G and Z. And what I'm gonna go for is just align it with the other face we had. Okay, so I was in face mode like an idiot. Of course I didn't turn it on. That's my bad. Alright, so now it is exactly at the same height because we snapped it on. We snapped to it. So we don't have to have any headaches or mind-boggling bullshit. We can just go ahead and model this. And you can see here the angle is a bit more... It is less steep than the other one. So what we're going to do here is still scale it on the x-axis and then move it back a bit. You might notice now it is obtuse. It is really messed up here. It is not angled enough. So all we're going to go for is just grab those vertices, G and X, and move them right there. Why does it look like it's kind of sideways for some fucking reason? Let me just vertex, G and Z. Of course. Okay, so now it looks better. Now let's check it out. If I am correct, it should be fine now. Okay, yeah. So we're just missing this triangular shape that goes from the back to the front. So all we're gonna do is go ahead and take those two vertices and these two, S and X. We're gonna look for the back view. Never mind, I'm missing two vertices. Let's just take the two faces instead. Two faces. That's an X. Oh, never mind. It was X and Y. Okay, I'm gonna have this align. Scale Y-axis. Then we're gonna notice the bottom is not really angular enough, so we're just gonna give it a bit more angle. We're gonna take this entire edge loop here, and then we're gonna do the same again and scale it on the Y-axis a bit. Alright, so it should look good now. Kinda. Alright. Now we'll go ahead and we're gonna take those vertices, align them, those guys again. Alright. Now if you want to make it look like a different piece, you could model it separately, which would be fine. It's really up to you, up to your preferences. If you want to make it look like a completely separate piece, then you will have to perform a cut or a boolean to make it look like in the picture here, which is not complicated. It's just something you do later on. So for example, if I did a cut, I would have to add another edge right here to allow myself to do so. But to make this thing a bit more rounder, we're going to do it as well. So just this S and the Y. There we go. Give it a bit more of this round shape. And we can take this edge right here. And side view, pressing G. Round this up again. Give a bit more strength to that curvature. Okay, yeah, now that's going to be a problem here. Because for here, I'm going to need another edge loop to do so. Well, problems arises. Sometimes they're going to piss you off. Yeah, let's just do this instead. Okay. So this here. G and Z. Pull it back on the X. Yeah, okay, yeah. That's what the problem is. I'm gonna need another edge for this over here then. So now, if I scale this, I'm gonna make sure it doesn't really scales on one of the sides. Press an Y. Okay. Then instead of scale and Z, because if we do that, then it's gonna enlarge everywhere. Like everywhere. So what we're gonna go for is really just grab this edge right here and pull it up manually. This here, and hold Control, G and Z. All right, looking better. And we can select those vertices. Wrong button. Shift and V for slide vertice. Just, you know, just place this geometry. Let's deactivate this goddamn tool. There we go. Shift and V. Just to place the geometry. Alright, so I really hate how close this geometry is, but I feel like I don't have a choice to really reinforce that curvature. So now let's go into object mode. So it is looking better, which is great, kinda. As I mentioned, I am no professional. Now let's go for the ejection chamber here. It is a shame I don't have a top view of this gun. Maybe I can find one. Let's see. I'll look for that another time. And right now, let's focus more on the model that I have at hand. That's why multiple references is suggested and highly recommended. What we can go for now is maybe add more detail to this basic shape. What I'll do though is call it base handle. Then I'm gonna copy it. Remember, Control D or Shift D. Okay, Shift D for duplicating. Right click to send back to where it was. Gonna lock this and hide the basic model. Then mid handle. All right. Okay, maybe log into right again. Let's have a naming convention a bit. All right, so now we're gonna add more detail to this, especially towards the finger guard and the handle itself. So now we're gonna get a bit more, really more intricate in here. So what we can go for to make this more interesting and use different techniques is use the boolean modifier just to flatten this area. Like we can see, it still holds its curve, but it's kind of flattened. It kind of turns a bit more flat in here. So what we'll go for is like all of these edges right here. Then it should be Shift and B. Nope. For Boolean modifier, let me check again. Bevel. There we go. Control B for beveling. Now we can change the number of edge we want in there. I'm just gonna go for 3. And then let's have the X-ray. Gonna pull this back a bit. It's holding G. Alright, so these guys are matching. Don't worry about the geometry, we're gonna fix this right away. And this in here. Pull it back a bit more. Just a bit. There we go. To give more of that crease. So we get a problem, which is the triangles. All we're gonna go for is transform this into squares. Which is simple to say, but sometimes kind of a headache when you get too much geometry. So what we will go for is bring the cut tool again. I'm no pro. Someone might have a better technique than me, which is great if they do so. Let's see. We're just gonna add an edge loop here. Then, of course. So since we have imperfect geometry right here, it's not gonna allow me to make a cut here. So what we're gonna do is really try to add a reinforcement loop. So we're gonna go for, it's either to reinforce the shape here or to reclose it off. All right, so let's try closing this off right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so we're I have this right here. Then it is to close off this here. What I could go for would be to bring this edge and close it over. But I'm gonna think for a second here. You know what? I got a better idea for this cut. All we're gonna go for is to have just an edge right here, just an insertion that we're gonna make by hand. Just follow this handle like as a reinforcement. So if we have anything else to add to this curve right here, we're gonna be fine. So this cut here, this cut here, this one here, and then press the right thing. All right, trying to move here. Okay, we can go back at this edge right here. And this one here. I'm trying to keep the same distance as much as possible. And then this one here. Here. All right. Now we're gonna give this diagonal here. Start from here again. This guy here. All right, so to be sure everything's fine, that is an odd looking freaking edge. But the geometry does change back into 4, which is what I was aiming for. Then for here, I'm just an idiot. I could have just went ahead and delete. Okay, yeah. So to make it even cleaner, because we got to get rid of these strangles over here, we're gonna go ahead and, god damn it, I really complicated myself for this. Let's see. I'm really complicating myself for this, god damn. Okay, let me just dissolve those edges. Just this edge right here. Nope. How did I do that in the past? Let's see. Okay, yeah. So can I add this cut here? And this guy. No, it's still gonna make it 5/6. God fucking damn it. Okay, let's go back a few steps. I'm gonna figure this out. We keep this into 4 faces of 4. Because I could just go ahead and bevel this entire line itself. There's gonna be a whole lot of geometry, especially to deal with. Because if I go ahead and bevel this entire thing here, I could do that. I could. Yeah, I could do that. Yeah, okay, fuck it. Let's keep it simple. Let's just bevel this here. And then if we're not happy with it, what we can do is remake topology later on, but it's going to be later on. Then if you want to just move this here, we're going to go ahead, grab those vertices, then grab those ones here, those ones here. Oh, I have turned on something called, I forgot the name of it, proportional editing. That's it. It allows you to move a surface, a vertex, an edge, and influence the rest next to it. So what you do is use the move tool, then when you press O, where's it O? Or when you activate this tool, you can then move them while the rest of the geometry is following. And to edit the influence range, which is a circle you see here, it is just with middle mouse. So middle mouse wheel. Then we're just gonna tweak this. So it fits. Gonna give it more of its shape over here. All right. It looks quite more simple. Now, there's something I forgot to do. It's to add, it's the smooth edge over here. Well, we're gonna go for, yeah, okay, yeah. I should have done that before, but we're gonna do it now. I'm just gonna add an edge and try to scale it on the X for this section here. So control, let's get this here. Then this one here. All right, now all we gotta do, S and X. Give it a bit more of its curved surface. S and X again. Wait, got it. All right, there we go. S and X. Give it more of its curve here. All right, sweet. Then for this here, we're gonna have to just bring it down. So this here, and this here. Go into side view again. G and Z. All right. Now we see we kind of got geometry displaced in some way. So what we're gonna do is just grab this guy. S and V. S and V. Should look better now. At least fucking hope so. G and Y. Okay, so now object mode. Okay, now it looks more round, which is great. Sweet. Maybe this still looks a bit too flat. Just a bit G and Y. G and Y. There we go. Yeah. So this is looking quite better now. Then again, it is not going to be perfect. It is not a professional caliber model. Now in here, I'm just gonna add 2 edge loops. Just to reinforce this in here. And maybe I don't even have to add edge. I can just go ahead, And wait, I didn't remove that panel when I, god damn it. Hold that thought. Forgot to remove those faces when I did the mirror modifier. There we go. So now all I gotta do is add one edge loop. Just reinforce the side here. Perfect. Yes. Alright, sweet. Now, let's see. Now we're gonna add for what? Well, we could go for the trigger. We could do that. Yes, we could. Or maybe... Aha! We're gonna go for, basically the sliders stop, little area. So on a handgun, or any, yeah, basically, on this handgun, you have a section on the slider that has a bit of a crease that goes up a bit in a triangular sort of shape. Then you have the stopper that comes in contact when there's no more munitions in the chamber or in the mag. So we could try just to muddle that little piece. You might not see it properly. I'm just gonna hide this right here. You see this right there? It's a little kind of a, yeah. It's a very interesting shape that comes unlocked with this here. That's basically really just lock down the slider so it doesn't move anymore. It lets you know that it's empty and so on and so forth. I'm no gun expert, so I might use the wrong terms here for the handgun, but as long as you understand what I'm saying, we should be fine. We're just gonna go ahead and muddle this here. Just this singular segment. It's very simple. All we can go for is just cut. It just use the cut tool to make this shape. So we're gonna go for that. Let's use X-ray. Now we're gonna need an edge loop here, here, and here. We're gonna lose one here. I'm gonna put another one there. And another one here. And the last one over here. Yeah. Now we can go and manually place the geometry. So I'm just gonna use Shift and V to move the geometry. I need to kind of marry, we can say, the shape. Alright, so I'm gonna grab both of those vertices, move them up. Okay, move you down a bit because it's kind of excessive. G and Y. Alright, so now oh, I don't even need to cut shit. I can just move this up. Never mind. Let me just move this here. So we get the basic shape. And since I'm not perfectly aligned here, it might be too big. Yeah, okay. Since I'm not aligned properly, I'm going to take some creative decisions. Just going to take this, lower it down a bit. Because it's just way too high. Just try to match the angle here. Just try to match this. Alright, nice. Now we're going to take this edge loop. Move it on the Y, X. There we go. Looking better. Which was quite simple. Wait, I deleted those goddamn faces, didn't I? Nope. Why the fuck is that a single face? Okay. It shouldn't have made it on the other side. It's going to be quite easy to correct. I forgot that was on X-ray mode. So now I'm gonna undo all of this. Just get out of X-ray mode. Grab those vertices right here. Then turn on X-ray mode. Move those guys on the Z. Move those guys. Then, which are still too high. Let's just match this over here. Let's get the angle right as much as we can. And use this edge loop here just to, you know, get this bit more, just get this more accurately. But it is not like completely flat, which is great. It is slightly angled. There we go. Control S for saving. So it does look better. All right, sweet. Let's see here. Now, what else can we go for? All right, let's go for that kind of foam area on the handle. Let's go for this here. It's gonna be simple. It's just gonna be a bit more geometry to add. So just to be sure, okay, so it's the same on both sides. Except I'm guessing the mag release. Is it the mag release? I don't think it is. It cuts through it, but we're gonna get just this shape right here correctly. So all we're gonna do is take the knife tool again. Head supporting geometry immediately. So I don't have to break my head trying to find a way to place it. Place this here. And this here. All right. Let's slide this vertex a bit. We'll get a better workplace. So now, it should be fun. It should be quite simple. We got the crease in here, and then we got the support for the thumbs. When you're holding a handgun, you have both thumbs on the same side. You have the first one that's touching the handgun, this one here. We have the second one that's on top of it. Okay, usually you don't put your thumbs near the slider, otherwise you're gonna have some skin coming off. Okay, so now all we can go for is really move that geometry again. Just those three. Move them. Just to get that shape correctly. And it is kind of oval, so what we're gonna do is try to add a bit more geometry to this by hand. So we're gonna go for is this. Let's see. All right, I have no choice but to add an edge in the middle. And then use this in here. to at least have an uneven number of vertices for that circle I'm gonna try to make. Well, circle slash oval. And this one here. Adding more geometry. I'm gonna take this vertex here, bring it down. It is far from being pleasing to the eyes. Let's get this here. Let's move those guys again. Now we're going to take these faces and we're going to do a magic trick. Click those. There should be something that... Alright, subdivision. That's nasty looking. Nope. Let's see. Okay. I see how we can support that subdivision. I subdivide. I'm going to take the knife. Then add this geometry. Don't worry, we're going to transform those triangles into quads very soon. And those guys here. And those guys here. Let's get those guys placed together. Now we're going to take wrong tool. We're going to take these edges. All of these edges. Control and X. Shape vertices. Alright, sweet. So now we got quads now. Which are not as messed up as I thought it would be. Now let's hope this works. If it doesn't, well, fuck me. Gonna fake these guys. Those guys. More slowly like a star than the beginning of a circular face. Maybe I did the geometry wrong on this. Then right click, loop tool. Let's go for circle. Holy smoking Jesus, what the fuck did I do? Okay. Let's go back a few steps. I might not need that much geometry after all. I'm gonna take those guys. That's not what I wanted to do. Come on. So this here and this here. Control X. Let's just take all of those faces. Loop tool. Circle. Alright. Now let's shrink it down. Rotate it. And scale it on the X. Scale it on the Y. Then we're gonna try to place that geometry. Just so it doesn't look fucking ridiculous. We're gonna have this here. Then let's bring this down because we're gonna need to make a new shape over here. Bring this over here, there. Move this guy, and this guy back a bit. So now, all we gotta do is take all of those faces. Then we're going to insert Jesus goddamn Christ. That's nasty looking. Gonna replace those geometry so it looks somewhat like a foam space, we're gonna say. This and this and this. Alright. Move this back here. Put it a bit more up. Yeah, okay. Now, move this edge towards the middle so it doesn't look as silly. Let's move this one. And fake those middle faces. And move them inward on the y-axis. It shouldn't be too deep. It should be just slight enough to be noticeable. You can see it's a bit too deep. G and Y. Have this here. And then, even still, it was here. Insert. Move it again a bit more. Towards the top. I'm going to take that edge loop as well. G and Y. Alright. Looking interesting. Looking interesting. Now let's do that bump that comes out a bit. Let's take those faces here. Yeah, looks good. Insert. Then move them out. On the y-axis. Should be a little bump. Then, as we want that interesting shape, like curvish kind of shape, let's take this edge, Z, Y. I'm getting a phone call. And it is currently 9. Give me a moment. Alright. Just gonna finish this and wrap it up. Gonna take those. Gonna move it here. I take this guy. And this guy here. This. Now all we need to do is move them slightly towards the handgun. Just a bit. So it has its weird curvature. Alright, so it's looking interesting. Let's, just for the fun of it, let's add a subdivision modifier. Subdivide edges, add smooth modifier. Then, yeah, okay. So we're gonna have issues with this geometry here. But it is a problem I will probably attack off stream. Or even reshape off stream, for that matter. It might be the normals that are kind of messed up as well. It is something I will work on for the shape. Maybe we'll need to subdivide the handgun entirely. We'll see. So, that was it for today. It's been an hour modeling this. I'm not proud of what I've done so far, but we all start somewhere. I started somewhere else, but now I'm goddamn rusty. So yeah, that's pretty much it. If you guys got questions, feel free to ask them. Remember, there's the community tab now on YouTube you can use to put posts, ask questions, discuss with each other. And well, as always, I'll see you all in the next one.